Hello ladies and gentlemen, welcome to this channel once again. I had done a video here and explained how Jeremiah Kioni had revealed of a coalition that was going to be formed that involved Matiang'i, Kalonzo, Rigathi Gachagua, Natembeya, and the likes of Eugene Wamalwa. And just in that process, Jana, we saw President William Ruto make a trip to visit the former President Uhuru Kenyatta at his home there at Gatundu. And ladies and gentlemen, you know, in politics, you must be very tactful and calculative. The reasons why William Samoei Ruto made that first move to reach out to former President Uhuru Kenyatta is that in any case this coalition works out or could work out or is going to work out, then there is no chance at all that whatever coalition President William Ruto will form to run for presidency in 2027 can defeat such a combination. And the steering force that is perceived to be behind that coalition was Uhuru Kenyatta. And remember that Jeremiah Kioni is a Jubilee member and party from Jubilee Party, which is led by Uhuru Kenyatta. And anything that Jeremiah Kioni speaks, he is very sure of it. I remember him revealing that in 2022, they wanted to front Matiang'i for presidency, but Matiang'i never was not very comfortable at that time. And now, just yesterday, the same yesterday is the same day Jeremiah Kioni had revealed or had spoken the same, although there have been speculations about it before. Ladies and gentlemen, in this analysis, I want to give you point by point why William Samoei Ruto had to move that fast or that swift to reach out to President Uhuru Kenyatta. And straight to it, but before I do, if you're watching for the first time, take a second to subscribe to our channel so that whenever we have such information, you are always notified. So straight to it, it's that 2027, President William Samoei Ruto depends strongly on Raila Amolo Odinga. Winning his second term, he only depends on Raila Odinga. If Raila Odinga reaches some points, a certain point in 2027 and decide to support a different candidate or decide to say that he's running for president at that time, then it will be done. Yeah? William Samoei Ruto atakuwa amemalizika because the Mount Kenya region itakuwa imeenda, and then we'll have the Luo Nyanza and the Raila strongholds will turn quickly. Remember that the supporters of Raila Odinga are those type of supporters who, if Raila Odinga stood today and told them we are going to support whoever candidate they want, or we are going to this direction, or I've decided that I'm going to run for president because I'm not comfortable with this William Samoei Ruto, how he is taking things, trust me, the ground will change within a midnight. And the next day you will hear that Raila Odinga is very strong and powerful. And that one will finish William Samoei Ruto ambitions of president in 2027. So I think it's a tactful move to calculate the chances of depending on Raila Odinga. What if Raila Odinga changes his mind and punishes him or runs or supports a different candidate? It's not the first time we have seen Raila Odinga do that. In 2002, you remember, he did it. And so William Samoei Ruto is trying to figure out any movement that will happen to counter it. If Raila Odinga decides that he won't support him, then William Samoei Ruto will move in, call in Uhuru Kenyatta, and Uhuru Kenyatta can donate to him some few strong people who he can figure out how they are going to form a coalition and try to win that presidency. Remember that Uhuru Kenyatta has a party, Jubilee Party. And any leader who has such a party, Jubilee Party is a party that has ruled Kenya. And Uhuru Kenyatta can reach out to a few people. He can bring Matiang'i to the side of William Samoei Ruto. Uhuru Kenyatta can figure out, he can go to the mountain and try to, even if President William Samoei Ruto has become unpopular, he can try to turn out the mountain and tell him, let's go this direction. because of this and these reasons. So number one is trying to double chance his ambitions of 2027 if Raila Odinga does not fully all changes his mind. The second reason, I had told you here earlier that the 2027 election will be the most contentious election that we have ever seen in Kenya. And it's going also to be the most expensive election in the Kenyan history, because the fight is going to be so tough, and the coalitions are going to be of almost equal magnitudes, and they're not going to be two like we are used to. We have the Gen Zs who have demonstrated that they have the potential of fielding a candidate and supporting him, and that candidate can get a significant number. We have the Mount Kenya region that has been frustrated and they feel betrayed, and they are going to back a candidate, maybe Rigathi Gachagua or whoever side Rigathi Gachagua is. We have the campus with their Kalonzo Musyoka. They ultimately support Kalonzo Musyoka, and the Luo Nyanza will follow what Raila Odinga will lead. So if we are going to have, let's say, 4 coalitions, and these coalitions are going to get a significant percentages. Remember that in the previous elections you have had in Kenya, you find out that the first and second candidate get almost 98% of the total perceived votes, and the rest of the candidates will get maybe 1%. Sometimes hata iko inafika 1, sometimes it was going to 2%. Some minimal percent that cannot change anything and that cannot add the 50 plus 1% of winning. But in 2027, 50 plus 1 is going to be a very difficult thing to achieve. Remember that if we have 4 coalitions, President William Ruto akuje na coalition yake. We have Rigathi Gachagua akuje na coalition yake. We have let's say Gen Z, they front somebody, Akina Morara, Akina and the other team, Babu Wino, Ndidi Nyoro, maybe they come with their coalition. And we are going to have this, if you view these coalitions, you will see that they are able to achieve 10 plus percentage of votes in Kenya. That shows that 50 plus 1 is quite difficult to achieve. So I told you that there are chances that the election will go to a second time voting. And what happens in a second time voting is that number 1 and number 2 are the ones who are going to contest. And so it will depend that number 3 and number 4 and whoever coalition that will have remained will choose a side to support. They're going to choose a side that they're going to support. So yesterday's move to reach Uhuru Kenyatta is that if 2027 elections are going to go to a second round, let's say President William Ruto becomes position 2 or becomes position by 1 for instance, still wins it, but fails to get 50 plus 1, let's say he's coming position 1 at 39, and then we have a position 2 at 35%. And so those coalitions that will be number 3 and number 4 will be very significant on determining who wins that elections. And the likes of Uhuru Kenyatta are the people who will be behind or mobilizing and deciding and reaching out to people and telling them, let's go to these sides. And at that time, Uhuru Kenyatta will come out and maybe can rally some votes from the central Kenya and other friends from the entire nation. Remember that Uhuru Kenyatta has some, you cannot underestimate his efforts. He has some votes in Nakuru, he has some votes in Narok, he has some votes in Nairobi, and he can try to change things to favor William Ruto if in any case he decides to do so. So that was also another tactical move, that they line out things, they work together, that respect is maintained, and so that in 2027, in case of a second time running, then reaching out to former President Uhuru Kenyatta is going to be quick and swift. The last reason is that remember that Raila is contesting for the AU chairmanship position. And I've always told you that if Raila Odinga is going to lose the AU chairmanship position, then he'll ultimately run for presidency. Kama umekuwa kwa nchi, you know Raila Odinga and you know ODM, they will run for presidency. They'll try to, Raila Odinga cannot fail AU and then comes and sits and waits to support President Ruto in 2027. That is very unusual for those who understands the politics of Raila Odinga. Raila Odinga, and Raila Odinga is very pretty sure that he knows that he holds his support base. He can direct it to whoever side he wants at any time. If he wants it in his favor, then he'll still get it. The likes of Hassan Joe, the likes of Mohammed Junet Mohammed, people will turn at Raila sword and they'll change from supporting the government and they'll switch to Raila Odinga because up to the moment they're denying they're not in government. They just donated some members to go and help President Ruto clinch presidency. So if Raila Odinga is going to lose AU, and maybe by instance, William Ruto has calculated and seen that maybe there is a possibility that Raila Odinga is not assured of winning that post, then he knows that Raila Odinga might run for presidency in 2027. Running for president of Raila Odinga means that Nyanza gone, Western half gone, Coastal region gone, Northeastern. Raila Odinga, almost got similar votes to what Ruto got. But Ruto was massively supported by the Mount Kenya region, which is now, as we think, gone. So if Raila Odinga wins, then William Samoei Ruto will have to think or go back to the drawing board and try to calculate some numbers or try to figure out a formula to come back and will clinch that presidency. And reaching out to Uhuru Kenyatta is one of the people who will tell him, okay, if this has happened, maybe go do this and this. Remember that Uhuru Kenyatta is a very sober man, and is a very and Kenyans perceive Uhuru Kenyatta as a Democrat, somebody who goes with reason, and somebody who respects the rule of law. It's very rare to see a president support a candidate. That candidate loses, and even that president is very willing to transfer powers easily. And Uhuru Kenyatta allowed for free, fair, and credible election, the 2022 general election. He didn't want to interfere. Because if he was president, and if he could have wanted to interfere with that election, he could have interfered it. But he allowed a free and fair, credible election that enabled President William Samoei to clinch presidency because at that time, Uhuru Kenyatta was supporting Raila Odinga. So Uhuru Kenyatta is a Democrat. He might also decide to say that I won't come into the elections 2027. I won't interfere with anything. I will be just watching. We had him the other day in Embu say that mimi siku hizi ni mtu wa kuona TV na radio. He might also decide that, okay, I'll be watching TV and radio and I won't interfere and I won't support anybody. Let it play out the way it will play. But remember that as much as he might decide to remain silent, his advice and his knowledge is very credible because he has been a president and he knows things. And once you are out, it's easy to see the way the country is going and the way the things are going are unfolding, rather than when you're in government. Right now, if you ask President Uhuru Kenyatta the way the economy is going, the way the politics of Kenya is going, he'll give you a very credible answer because he's mingling with the citizens, he's working out, and he's getting very genuine opinions from Kenyans. And his advice to President William Samoei Ruto on how to run the government and on how to do things for the purpose of 2027 is very credible and genuine. So that's another reason why President William Samoei Ruto had to go there and seek some advice and know some things that will be beneficial for him to run government, and also to plan for 2027. The last reason is that Uhuru Kenyatta and William Samoei Ruto during the 2020 general elections were perceived not to have good relationship because they had gone to different directions. Remember that The second term of President Uhuru Kenyatta, William Ruto was an outsider. He opposed what was happening in government. He appeared like not outside a person who was not taking part in activities that were happening in government, and that one destroyed the relationship they had. The two had. Remember that the two had been very long-term friends for all the way from egg 2007 egg running for presidency, running first time, second time in winning, and they had a good relationship. But during the 2022 general election, when Uhuru Kenyatta decided that he was going to support Raila Odinga, that relationship at some points appeared to be tampered with. Yesterday was also another time for William Samuel Ruto to reach out to his former friend, long-term friend, and tell him elections were done. It's time to build the nation. It's time to concentrate on the economy. What can we do, or what can I do? That's why you saw them come out and make a statement that they're deliberated on issues of IBC, economy, the issues we see with the abductions and the other issues that are happening in the country and the development of the nation at large. So it was also another meeting to smoothen the relationship the long term friends have had. That's why this meeting was not conducted in State House. It was very easy for President Uhuru Kenyatta to come to State House and meet Ruto there. But this is a meeting that was held in Gatundu, the former president hosting a current president. It shows that it's a meeting that where there was open discussions, because unlike State House, Uhuru Kenyatta could go there and respect State House, and he could not make some statements. But President William Ruto going to Gatundu meant that it allowed Uhuru Kenyatta to have free of speech and tell him openly what he thought and the way he sees the Kenyan economy is going and the politics of the nation is going, and also a time to reunite and strengthen the relationship. Maybe it's going to open for more discussions and more deliberations on how the two are going to work together. Remember that the former president is entitled to security and office, has duties, and the current government must support that. And also, those are other issues that were discussed, maybe probably in that meeting. Otherwise, ladies and gentlemen, that's all I have for today. You can tell me what you think in the comment sections. Do you think that yesterday's meeting was just a meeting for national interest and the current affairs, or there was something to do with the 2027 general election, and there was some advice on how to go through? And is it possible that in future we are going to see President Uhuru Kenyatta come out and openly support the presidency of William Samoei Ruto in 2027, or how he is doing things at the current period? Uh, you can tell me in the comment section what you think. Otherwise, ladies and gentlemen, have a nice day. And remember that if you're watching for the first time this channel, take a second to subscribe to this channel so that whenever you have such information, you are always notified.